Hey, this is Voxide, and this will be a short walkthrough through the plugins version of this template. So here I am inside the main comp, as you can see, and here are all of the individual scenes that all make up this entire project, and these are all synchronized to the song from the trailer. Alright, and let's take a look at each individual scene, and really the structure is the same as the no plugins version. So here I am inside, let's say, text one comp. Alright, this is the first one. And let me break down all of the components that make up this entire scene. And this is third resolution, by the way, so if I set this to full, you can notice that it takes a while to prepare a full quality frame, and that's because, well, and the no plugins pre-rendered version works a lot faster. So if you want a quick project, you can use that one. But if you want unlimited control over the look of the project, then you have to use this version. Alright, so let's break down this composition, and all of the compositions pretty much follow this exact same structure. Alright, so I'm just gonna show you one, and then everything else is pretty much the same. So let's start. Let's see, we have a adjustment layer, and let's press U to show our keyframes, and this is let's turn this to third resolution just so it loads faster and we can preview a lot easier. Alright, so the first adjustment layer is a glow that is keyframed from the start here to around the 1 second mark, as you can see. Alright, let's take a look at our second adjustment layer. So this is also a sort of like a flash element, just helps give it a little bump at the beginning of the scene. And here we have just a simple adjustment layer for the corners here, and this adjustment layer has a mask to it. Alright, so these three, or actually we have another adjustment layer here for the lens blur in the front part here. Alright, so these three are just color adjustments layer, as you can see. So nothing special here. And let's take a look at the first particular layer. So these here are all of the particular layers, and if I solo these, you can kind of see which part of the project these are. Alright, so we have, let's unsolo these, and we have a few layers of particular. So particular 1 and a duplicate of particular 1, and then each layer, each part of these particular layers come in duplicates. Alright, so particular 2, and then it's duplicate, and particular 3, and then it's duplicate. So the way I color these is I use the tritone. So it's really easy. If you want to change the colors for these, you just go to each layer's tritone effect, and then simply just replace the color for the tritone. Alright, of course you have access to all of the particular settings. So if I want to increase the particles, or just give it another direction, make them go backwards, you can kind of see. And yeah, this is completely up to you then. Alright, so these are my particular layers. Then we have a few text layers here. So these are the text layers. Alright, and let's see, we have let's turn this to full, and let's solo the first text layer. So we have a edge glow. We actually have a couple of edge glows here, so 3 layers for the edge glows. Let's see, 1 layer for the sort of abstract lines on top of the text. Then we have our simple, just a simple text layer, which you can adjust if you need to. And then we have a layer for the 3D extrusion, as you can see here. Alright, so that's pretty much it for our text. Let's take a look at what else we have here. Let's set this back to third resolution. We have some layers for these streaks. So if I solo this, you can see that this is the streak layer. And of course you can go ahead and if you grab this, you can reposition this if you need to. Let's take a look at another frame here. Let's solo this actually. Right, so you can see this streak here, which you can rearrange, but these are arranged to be at the intersection of this geometry-like element, the circuit sting, and also the optical flare. So these are the streaks, and you can reposition them. If I step inside here, you can see that it's just a simple element layer. Let's go back here, and here we have our optical flares comp, so OF underscore comp1, and here we have all of our optical flares, and you can see I'm using again a tritone to color these, so you can go ahead and very easily just change the color if you need to. And if you step inside this OF comp, here we have the simple optical flare layer, and this one here, the white solid here at the bottom, is the one that is actually the optical flares. Alright, you can see it's just a very simple optical flare with a flicker applied to it. So you can go ahead and, you know, if you have some presets for your optical flares, you can go ahead and change the optical flares like so. And I used a couple of layers here to add some details to this, to the texture of the optical flares, just so it's a little bit more interesting in the final comp. Alright, so you can go ahead and change that however you want. You can see that everything is getting darker here towards the end of the composition, and some of this is due to this adjustment layer that's below the text layer and the optical flares and stuff. Or actually, if I take a look, press U for my keyframe information, you can see here that the opacity for this adjustment layer is set at 0. So this is again another sort of color bump layer that helps give it a impact at the beginning. And below here you can see that there are a few black solid compositions, and these, if I solo these, you can see that these are the layers that make up the entire circuit geometry element. Alright, and you can see here that I've used a bunch of duplicated layers that are offset in time. And for example, if I grab this layer, you can see that I can grab it and reposition these as I want. And for example, you can duplicate this guy and turn it around. Move it, let's grab this back. Alright, so move it back a bit and maybe down. And you can see that you can very easily manipulate how this circuitry looks. Alright, and very easily add elements or remove elements if needed. Alright, so this is completely up to you. And of course we have our camera layer. So if I press C for my camera controls, I can go ahead and turn this around and maybe choose another angle. You can create pretty much any scene you want. So for example, if I choose another angle here, you will need to come and maybe, let's see, adjust these particular layers. So let's solo these and see which one we need to adjust. So maybe this guy, these two layers. So I'm gonna go ahead and for the position, I'm gonna try to reposition this maybe behind our camera here. Alright, so you can kind of see and maybe get an idea of how everything would work. And of course, like I said, you can mess around with the geometry layers for the circuits and really have a lot of control. You can see that if I move towards the end of the composition here, everything gets darker, and the adjustment layer responsible for this is going to be the second adjustment layer. So if I turn this off, you can see that everything goes back to normal, and maybe I can get back some of these glow intensity and you know, this is completely up to you. But this is the structure basically for all of the scenes. So if I step inside, let's see, text 2 comp. Again, I can press C to grab my camera, move this around. And here we have the two layers that make up this circuit pattern. And I can go ahead and duplicate these You can actually just simply duplicate a bunch of times if you want the circuits to glow a bit more. So that's pretty interesting. You can go ahead and rotate these and just create a lot more detail. So hopefully this will give you an idea of how everything is laid out and how everything works. And once you get used to this structure, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly easy to really take it to the next level and make some completely new designs. And you can see how easily you can create new scenes and really have unlimited control over the look. So hopefully this video will help you out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.